Hey everyone, this is Dr. Wes Fryer. It's February the 20th, 2022, and I would like to document how I set up my classes for the start of term. I am currently a media literacy teacher for 5th and 6th grade, teaching computer class, and we use both Google Classroom and Seesaw. And I just want to document all these things in case this can help somebody else as you're getting set up. In other places, I'll probably write some things about why we use both of these, but basically Google Classroom is our learning management system. It's our schooly system where we do assignment turn-in, and I make sure that students, can see everything that they need to do in our class. But Seesaw is what we use as our learning journal, and we use that to be able to not only see each other's work and practice digital citizenship and give feedback to each other, but also it's a really important parent communicator because parents can receive either a direct text message or an email when something new is added to the student's portfolio, and I just love that. And I've experimented with a wide variety of tools. Last year for 6th grade, we went back to using a blog, which I love. I love blogging, but anyway, this is what I have settled on and just really like. So let's go into this, and what I'm going to do, and I'll black out the student names and stuff like that. I need to go ahead and set up my Google Classroom for this semester. And so what I'm going to do here is actually duplicate one of my existing classes. Obviously you'll just create a blank class if you don't have one already, but I don't know how I didn't know this before, but this is so nice if, like me, you find yourself teaching the same class again and you're going to basically use the same structure of assignments and materials. So I'm here in my Google Classroom. I'm going to click the 3 dots. I will be, by the way, archiving my old classes as soon as I get those grades finalized. It's important not to have students leave the class because then you can't see their work and things like that. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to choose copy, and I'm going to make a copy of this class. And I have 4 sections that I teach, and so this is going to be my 5-2 section, and I like putting media literacy as the subtitle for the class there in sections because it appears right on the first page. But I'll go ahead and click copy. That is not going to include any of the announcements that were in my class that were in the feed. It's also not going to include any of the students, but it's going to include all the materials and all the assignments. And all those are going to be in draft mode so that I can go in there when I'm ready and go ahead and change those so that they'll be, usable for this year. So let me go ahead and click open. Oops, and that's not the right one. I want to do 5-2. So let me reload this and see if it's going to have 5-2. I knew that wasn't it because, let's see how the heading at the top. One of the things it doesn't capture is the theme that you have if you do a custom theme. Okay, so here is my blank class. It's just grabbed what it thought would be a nice theme for the top. I have created a logo previously that's exactly sized to Google Classroom, and this is a nice thing. You can Google, size of Google Classroom. I'm just going to type Google Classroom up here, and there it is, my Google Classroom banner. This is the exact size that your Google Classroom banner needs to be, and I like, leaving this empty space. In a Google Drawing document like this, you can go to File, Page Setup, and you can customize. So if you make your banner exactly 1,000 pixels wide by 250 pixels high, it'll be the exact same size. So I created this as a collage, and then I just went to File, Download as a JPEG, and now I've got that as an image that I can bring in. So I'll go ahead and go here to my class, and I'm going to click Customize up here on the right and Upload Photo. And I'm just going to select a photo from my computer, and there is my image, which I brought in previously, and I don't really want to crop that. It's already sized perfectly, so I'm just going to say use that whole thing, and I'm going to say select class theme, and boom, now I've got my custom header on there. Okay, so in order to set up this class, and before I invite students, I want to go ahead and do a couple things. I'm going to go ahead and click Generate Link, because in the event that we need to do remote learning, we have a snow day or ice day when we need to meet, or whatever, we're going to go ahead and use the Google Meet that's created as part of Google Classroom. It's a really good thing to do because as the teacher, you have special powers within Google Meet now that will only be powers that you have when you use that Google Classroom Meet link. So when I do parent conferences remotely, I'll just create those Meet links, from the calendar or just from going to meet.google.com. But this is the place to use for remote learning with students. I'm going to go ahead and go to my classwork tab, and here's where you can see all of my assignments for coding and media literacy and digital literacy for the whole semester are loaded up, and then I have a space down here for information and announcements. And so I can go ahead and click on one of these and say edit and change it from a draft post to an actual post. All right. So this is just a welcome video, and I really like to have a welcome video that I can share. I will send an email to both students and parents tomorrow on the first day of the term, just saying welcome to our class and letting them know that we're using both Seesaw and Google Classroom, and that I've updated our website. So what I need to do here is basically just post this. Now I have this as a YouTube video on my teacher channel. I've used a website called ViewPure to take out all of the comments and the related videos and things like that. I use a few different websites. This is one that I've used before that's free, and so that's the link. But I just copied that link so that I can go ahead and also put it into Seesaw, because in addition to this Google Classroom, I'm also going to be having my students join a Seesaw class. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and post this right now. Now remember, I don't have any students in this class yet, so nobody's going to get a notification. It's about 10 o'clock at night right now. I don't want to send my students an email, even though I don't think they'll be getting it right now. I'm going to schedule these messages to go at a certain time. And then I'll be adding my students. But right now, I don't have any students added, so nobody's getting notified about anything yet. But once my students have joined and I go ahead and post things, it's important to remember that they will receive email notifications at the time I publish things if I don't choose to schedule them. Okay? So what I'm going to need to do now is modify this assignment that says join our Seesaw, and I'll go ahead and edit that. Now, this assignment has some text that I need to copy and paste from Seesaw. Seesaw, we use the paid version as Seesaw for Schools, but you don't have to do that. You can use a free account as a teacher. This is going to be Computers 5.2 for spring 2022, and so this will be 5th grade. I have used the import from Google Classroom before. The thing that I have seen in the past, and maybe this has changed, is that if all my students haven't accepted my invitation to Google Classroom, they don't necessarily come right over. So there's a couple ways to get your students into Seesaw. You can use this import feature, and I think maybe you can synchronize it again. I just use the join code. Our kids log in with Google, and I just get all of my kids in there that way. So I'm going to go ahead and just say create this class. For our lower school and our primary teachers, we actually, as a school, we have someone who manages this and creates those classes and puts multiple teachers in. But for middle school and high school, we just can create our own classes just like we do for Google Classroom. So now I want to post that video. I like to have something posted into Seesaw before the kids join, and I don't really let the parents, or I don't notify the parents until the students have put some work into the site. So this is just a link. I'm not crazy about how wonderful this looks, but it is nice to take away all of the related videos and comments and things like that when you're sharing videos, especially at the beginning of the term, but even later with students and with parents too. So I'm just going to check sample student, and so this is just going to be a video that's going to be there when students log in the first time, but again, I'm not going to be really inviting parents to join here until each student has some work that they have shared in here, and that's going to be one of their first assignments is going to be they're going to be posting a slide that they're going to make. It'll be an identity collage. That's our first assignment. Okay, so now I'm going to click here on plus students, and I'm going to say email students with instructions, and I'm going to copy this email. And this has a code, which actually I'm going to change because I'm going to share this video, and I don't want this code to be out there live for anybody to join. Not that I think that's really going to happen, but it's important to know that's a code to keep secret and not to post out on social media. So I will actually change the code here after I do this and have to redo this part. But I'm going to copy that, and so now on this assignment, I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to paste in the text here. And our students have pretty much already used Seesaw, so I'm going to delete this first part that says if you're using Seesaw for the first time, where it just says if you use Seesaw and have an account. And then it has that code. That magical code is the one that they're going to need to use to join our Seesaw. And so I'm going to go ahead and make this due our first day of class. This is a class that I'll actually have on Tuesday, so I'll make that due on Tuesday. This is ungraded. I'm just going to require everybody to do this, but not give them a grade for it. But instead of assigning it now, I'm going to click the little arrow here in Google Classroom and say schedule. And I'm going to say I actually want that to be published for my students to see it, and they'll get an email about that once they've joined the class. And I'll just send that at 7 a.m. on Tuesday, on the day that we're going to meet and have class. And so now that is scheduled. Okay? All right, so I need to do a couple more things, and then I'll be done. My Google Classroom's created, but I haven't invited my students yet. My Seesaw is created, and I've put the assignment for them to join Seesaw here in Google Classroom. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a slideshow that looks like this. This is what I did for my other class, and this is an identity collage assignment. And so I we'll put a link in this video description to this lesson. I just love to start class with this lesson because every student, and you can just go in here and change slide names and put student names on here. I like to use what this is a collage like this, and we're going to use the same slideshow that all the students are going to edit, and they're going to be able to see each other's work. It also gives us a chance to talk about digital citizenship, and we're not going to troll or vandalize other students' work, but we're going to get to know each other a little better as we just jump right into Google Tools, learning how to make an image collage, use contrasting background color and foreground text, resize, crop, talk about safe places to get images. There's a lot of really good skills that are here in this first lesson. I love doing this as a first lesson. It helps me get to know my students, and we just jump into some really good Google Slides skills. So Alice Keeler, who is a fantastic educator, and I caught her with her mouth open there in that video, has a great little video she put up in January of 2021 called Each Student Name on Individual Google Slides. Now, she's also created a script, and so you can go to her shortened link, alicekeeler.com/roster to slides, and it will give you a copy of this Google Sheet. And what you have to do the first time that you open it is you go to Extensions, Roster to Slides, and you have to click Authorize and authorize this for your account. But then you're going to be able to put the names of your students right here, and you'll click a button, Create Slides, and boom, it's going to make a slideshow where you have separate slides with all your kids. I did this as an activity for our teachers at the beginning of the year, actually, and I think I still have that up on support.cassie.org. I call this our Adventures activity. And so these are all of our teachers. So because this was a lot of folks, we organized these by last name, but we had a little tutorial about how to do this, and then all our teachers had a chance to make their own slides, and they were talking about takeaways that we had from our summer book study. And this was really cool, and I thought it was neat to model this idea of having a slideshow that we can all edit together. All right, so here's what I'll end up needing to cover up a little bit in terms of student confidential information. In our learning management system, we use this system called Blackbaud. I have pages for each of my classes, and I've put some text and links and introductory videos here on what's called a bulletin board. But when I click over here on roster, I'm going to be able to see all the kids that are in this class, and then I can click send communication to students and then copy addresses. And so what that does, it copies all of the email addresses of my students. Now, I use a little program called BB Edit. This is a geeky thing that I do to use something called grep, G-R-E-P, to do a powerful find and replace. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I'm just going to be sending an email to students, I could paste all these email addresses, like I have right there, straight into the blind carbon copy field of an email address. However, what I want to do right now is put all of these on their own line in a Google spreadsheet, because I really like to have a roster of my kids, and I use that in a variety of places. One of the really nice websites that's free that I like to use is this one called Wheel of Names, and so I can just paste my kids' names in here, and it just creates this random wheel that I can spin and selects names. And anyway, it's just great to have a roster that I can refer to with my kids' names. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do on the Mac here, I'm going to press Command F. And this is a Mac program. I'm actually not sure if this is available for Windows computers, although I'm sure you can do grep searches with other things. I'm going to say search for just a comma and a space, and I'm checking the little grep box, and then I'm saying \R. And look what happens when I click replace all. Voila! It has taken all these student names and it's put them all on their own rows. So what I'm going to do now is come over to my class roster. I'm going to click plus, and I'm going to add a new sheet. I'm going to rename this as 5.2 because this is my 4th section. I'm just going to paste in all of those email addresses. Now, I could do something a little bit fancier, but I'm going to actually just type the names of my students here. And I'm going to then be able to just copy and paste them. All right, so here's the students that I have in this class. I'm going to copy those first names, and then I'm going to come over here to my spreadsheet that I have from Alice Keeler, and I'll delete the names that I have in here from a previous class. I'm just going to paste those in. Now watch this magic. Because I've authorized this and I clicked setup earlier, all I need to do is click create slides. And this is a script that's running here inside, hopefully, yeah, there it goes, inside Google Slides. Voila, look at this. I now have a new slideshow, and if I look down here, I've got student names on each one. So I actually like to delete these blanks that are in between, but again, I could manually do this. Ooh, and you know what I actually forgot to do? Okay, I'm going to do this again. I forgot to sort these. I like to go in and actually sort my list from A to Z. There we go. So these are alphabetical. So I'm going to do this one more time. Put these names in here, and then go ahead and say create slides. And even if you've created it before, it'll always just generate a new slideshow that has all of these student names on them, hopefully. There we go. Voila. And again, I'm going to have these blanks, but I like that it's alphabetized. Okay, so delete. Okay, just the blank slides, not the slides that have names on them. All right, and now I like to select all the slides, so I use a Command A and go to Slide Change Background, because I just want basically to have a white background there on all of these. And then I'm going to put my instructions on the top. So I'm going to click on my first slide, copy that slide, paste that in, and move that to the front. I have made an example slide of my own. This is my own image collage, and I'm just going to put this at the bottom. Now, for a lot of assignments, you'll let students have their own copy of an assignment, and that's just their work. This is a little different because we're all going to edit the same file. And I found that it's really nice to already have student names on here because it's just so quick and easy for them to find their slide and go to work. When you work on a document like this, whether it's a slideshow or a Google Sheet or a document, if you have a lot of students together in the same document at the same time, it's easy for them to, quote, step on each other and it just to be a little messy and chaotic. So I find this really works great to already have a slide created for the student, and they're just going to find their student and go to work. Okay. I need to rename this file, and so I'm going to copy the name that I had used for this previous one because I just need to change the name of the section. This is going to be Who Are We? Spring 5-2 2022. Ta-da! And now I'm ready. Now, rather than share this here inside the Google sharing environment there, upper right corner, click on the share button. I'm going to go back here to my Google Classroom assignment, and I have already, created this. So I'll click on the draft and say I want to edit this, and I'm going to change a couple things. So first, I'm going to delete the old slideshow because this is actually going to, if I can click on this, I'm going to put the new one that I just made. So I'll say add from Google Drive, and I want to be looking at recent files, and it should be the first thing right here. Look at that. There it is, the Who Are We Spring 5-2. Now this is really the only time I think I do this in class, although maybe with Jamboards I guess we do as well. I'm going to say students can edit the file. All of the students in this class are going to have the ability to edit that file. So I've got that selected. The instructions are here. They're also over there on the slideshow. I need to change the due date. So we're going to actually meet on Tuesday. So I'm going to make this due the following class on the 24th. And then the last thing is I'm going to change, I'm not going to assign it because I don't want this to go to students right away. I'm going to just say schedule. And I'm going to say I want this to go to students on our first meeting day. And I've got that first thing, which is just to join our Seesaw at 7 o'clock. I could do them both at 7 if I wanted to, but I'll say 7:01, schedule. Okay. So now I have done everything that I need in my Google Classroom before inviting the students. And so now I'm kind of ready for my last step, which is going to be to invite them. I'm going to go back to my roster, and because I've copied and pasted all of their addresses, and I'll use this at different times, I can go back to my student information system and get those addresses, and sometimes I do, but I have it right there on the roster. I can now go to people, and right here by students, I can click the plus, and I can paste in all of those addresses and invite them. And all of those students are now invited. They're going to receive a notification, and they're going to be able to join our Google Classroom. Even though I have a lot of other assignments that are in draft mode in this class, the kids can't see those. All they're going to be able to see when they first log in is that there's a welcome video from me. And then these scheduled assignments are going to appear on the class day at the time that I specified there, and we're going to be ready to go. So that is how I set up for the new semester. It takes a little while. I've had to do this for each of my classes, but again, I just love using Seesaw as a learning journal. It's just so important for our students to have a space to see each other's work and to provide feedback and to provide parent communication. I love using Seesaw. And I think it's a fantastic platform, and it's also great because, again, if your school, there's features that you get if you pay for it as a school, but you can actually just use it as a classroom teacher as well, and it's fantastic. So I would invite you to check out other instructional videos like this that I've made on my website, playingwithmedia.com. I do need to be updating it, but I do have a separate Twitter channel in addition to my W. Fryer normal Twitter channel called Videos by Wes, and that's where I'm sharing videos like this to let people know, hey, I've got a new video out. So good luck to you, and I hope you are able to get your start of term set up well using Google Classroom and Seesaw or whatever other tools that you choose to use as a teacher.